This video was brought to you by Squarespace, which interestingly, if you rearrange the letters and add a few letters and remove a few letters, it spells spoilers for Onward. Because this video is going to have spoilers for Onward in it. Which as of Friday officially made history by becoming the first ever Disney film to be released for digital download while still in cinemas. And I know the circumstances for why that had to happen weren't great, but we're not talking about that today because today I'm not actually sure what this video is about yet because I just kind of wanted to jump on the Onward hype train while it was on Disney Plus and didn't really get to thinking about a video. But don't worry, something will come to me. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Wait, did you hear that? I definitely heard something. Let's quickly just go see what that was. Find the soul. What does that mean? And why is it on an Easter egg? Find the Soul Easter egg. As in, Find the Soul, Pixar's upcoming film's Easter egg in Onward. That's a great video idea. Found it. Yeah, unfortunately I can't be around the bush too much with this one because for some reason the director of this film, Dan Scanlon, just decided to reveal where it was in an interview. According to Empire magazine, he said, "There's a jazz performer in Seoul named Dorothea Williams. Our movie doesn't have any human beings in it, so we thought, how are we going to get the nod in there?" Early on in Act 1, when Barley is racing over to clean up his game that Colt Bronco has knocked over, you can see the Lightfoot family have a bunch of albums. The top album is a Dorothea Williams album. And I mean, yeah, it's there. That's the girl from the band whose name's on the billboard. That's her album. I can confirm that's the Soul Easter egg, but doesn't it kind of defeat the point telling people where it is? Like, I don't know. Back when I did interviews with Pixar's directors and producers, they'd refuse to tell you.
There are several.
But if we told you,
but we're not going to tell you where
they would just become eggs.
Fatality.
And well, they're right. I want to have to find them. But I guess now, since we already know, this video is going to have to be about symbolism or something. Just to confirm, this video is about symbolism. There's a whole script and everything. Like, this isn't just like an off-the-cuff decision. Even the skit earlier, all scripted. You see, my biggest fear going into Onward was that it was going to be too predictable. Like, I made a video analyzing the first teaser trailer last May, and I felt like I'd already worked out what the main overarching message of the film was going to be. I do gather from the first 20 seconds of the trailer that the message of the film is very much going to be about how the growth of technology and time spent on our phones is taking away from the magic of the real world. Is it too soon to predict that? Probably, but it seems pretty spelled out. And then after seeing the second trailer, which revealed the whole storyline with their dad and how they needed to complete a spell to bring him back, I felt like I knew the whole plot. They have to find the thing they need to bring their dad back, and once they find it, they see their dad, and that's it. That's the film. The end. But needless to say, this film caught me off guard, and, well, you know, I'm gonna say it subverted my expectations. Yeah, the film followed through with the whole needing to find the thing to bring the dad back storyline, but in what can only be described as the most Pixar fashion possible, had one of the best and most bittersweet endings of a film I've ever seen. With Barley revealing to Ian that he never got to say goodbye to his dad and that was one of his only regrets in life, and Ian, thinking back through his life, realizes that while he never had a dad, he did have a father figure in his older brother and sacrifices his chance to see his dad so Barley can. And it's so good, I can't get over it. However, despite that, it seemed like my prediction about the film's messaging still held up and seemed to be correct. And by that I mean it couldn't have been more on the nose if they tried, by making it very clear, quite literally in the first 2 minutes of the film, that the rise of technology led to the downfall of magic. Which was a bit of a shame, because while Pixar's films may be looked at by the general public as kids' films, there are usually much deeper themes and subtext to be picked up on while watching them, and this film didn't really seem to have anything that wasn't right in front of us. It spelt its message out right from the start. Magic, good. Technology, bad. And while I don't think this is a terrible message for a film to have, it's also just not realistic at all. Yeah, maybe in our heads the word magic is more closely associated with positive words like fascinating, charming, glamorous, which are literally all synonyms of the word according to Google, compared to technology, which we're more likely to view as scary and bad and evil, but that doesn't mean magic and technology are those things. And yeah, while the growth of technology might be scary for some people, especially those who remember a time before the world was so advanced on that front, and that's why it isn't uncommon for older people to say the world was better in the past, you know? Kids these days, am I right? Except I would be what they see as a kid these days. So Uno reverse card to that. Boomers these days, am I right? I'm not good at making topical jokes. I'm better at being awkward and having people laugh at how bad I am at making jokes. That's my humor. And it's zooming in on my face. That's funny, right? Good content. Sorry, the point I'm trying to make is that while the fear of technology is understandable around older people who might want the world to revert to the magical way it once was, there's actually a phenomenon called shifting baseline syndrome, which, to put into layman's terms, basically explains how the changing world becomes the norm for the people who grow up in it. So the people growing up in this technologically advanced society don't know the world without it, and therefore have come to rely on said technology. And this can be applied to you and me. I'm gonna break the fourth wall here and state that this is literally a YouTube video, and you're sitting, standing, lying, maybe kneeling, or crouching. That would be kind of weird. Why would you kneel or crouch while watching a YouTube video? And you are consuming content, which I can only assume is something you do on a regular basis. Either that or this is one of the first ever YouTube videos you've watched, in which case I have no idea how your YouTube journey has started here, but trust me, it gets way better. For everyone else, including myself, we are relying on technology so that I can make these videos and you can watch these videos. And if someone took YouTube away, well, I guess that would just give me more reason to tell you guys to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, because I am nearly at 100,000 followers on neither of them, which is a problem. And that was the best plug I've ever done in my life. I'm really proud of myself. But despite this, I actually think the film's been very clever. And while maybe from the outside looking in, it may look like they've just written the message out and handed it to us on a piece of paper in the opening dialogue. Magic, good. Technology, bad. I mean, yeah, that's pretty spot on. Implying that the world should revert back to what it once was with magic and no technology. But I don't think that's really what they're trying to say. Onward shows that it isn't just impossible to remove all technology from the world, but also that it wouldn't be beneficial to do so. And I believe the real message of the film is to combine the two and add a little magic into the world as it is. And maybe that seems obvious now I've said it like that, but the way this message implements itself into the story is nothing short of absolutely fantastic storytelling. So, welcome to fantastic storytelling and where to find it. The success of Onward. Yeah, this is my new favourite Fantastic Beasts film. Now, as we've already covered, at the start of the film, the message was much closer to the whole magic good, technology bad thing, and yeah, it's kind of shoved down our throats from the first minute. You've got Ian's broken phone, which he decides to leave behind before going on the quest because it's out of battery. Digging into how technology can't be relied on as much as people think it can, and there are some more subtle examples of this too, like the karaoke machine being broken, and even just the restaurant in general, which is shown to be a shadow of what it used to be and therefore ends up getting burnt down, symbolizing the idea the world was better and simpler with magic and no technology. And then of course you have the most obvious example of bad, unreliable technology in Guinevere, which is just broken in pretty much every way imaginable to be this ever-present reminder that we shouldn't rely on technology.
No, that doesn't work.
And when it finally breaks down, running out of gas, the story takes it one step further, actually driving the brothers apart, and when they try to use magic to grow the gas for the car, they fail. And this is of course paralleled by them romanticizing the days of old and how great magic is, because while technology is driving them apart, it's magic that's bringing them together. And for that reason, as the film progresses, we see multiple examples of characters abandoning their technology and reverting back to their magic. A great example of this is the Pixie biker gang, who after managing to lose all of their bikes in the space of 2 minutes on a very busy road, which honestly makes me wonder how they had this many bikes to begin with. Like, Are they always this reckless? Give me answers, Dan Scanlon! Stop ignoring my tweets! I didn't actually tweet him. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, after losing their bikes, they relearn to use their wings and start flying around, which causes one of them to crash into Laurel's car, leading to another example of someone abandoning their technology for magic, as the Manticore flies in to take on the dragon curse at the end and does absolutely nothing. I'm totally fine with that. It turns out the ancient path of peril was actually the right way to the Phoenix Gem opposed to the modern, faster expressway after all. So you guessed it, they abandon the new in favor of the old. But you see here, in this moment when the brothers properly start bonding again and we're just heading into the final act of the film, the messaging starts to develop. And instead of just abandoning technology in favor of magic, we see them start to combine the two to complete their quest. The first real example of this is when they need to cross the never-ending pit, and while there is a bridge installed, the lever is on the other side. Because, say it with me, technology is unreliable. See, Ian uses magic to create himself a bridge, successfully crossing, but this bridge was only enough to get him across. At this moment, Barley and his dad are still on the other side, so what does he do? Obviously, he pulls the lever so the bridge lowers and Barley drives across. Meaning they used both technology and magic. There's no way all three of them could have crossed without both. And this keeps happening towards the end of the film, like when they're in the underground tunnels, knowing they need to follow where the river's going, but there's nothing to float on. Until Barley has the idea to combine some sort of cheese puff thing. I don't actually know what the technical word for it is, but he combines it with magic to float across the river. And I already see you typing your comment, well, a cheese puff isn't technological. Yes, it is. These things aren't growing on trees. They're made in factories by machines. That's as technological as it gets. Cheese puffs are technological. Put it on a t-shirt. And don't comment stupid things ever again. Stop. While these are the more obvious examples, there are also some subtle instances too, with Barley tricking the dragon into thinking Guinevere's headlight was actually the Phoenix Gem. Another one is looking back at the two instances in the film when they get stopped by the police, and while the first time they get away using magic, the second time Ian fails to cast the spell, so they have to crash Guinevere into the rocks, knocking them down and, with the help of technology, get away. Meaning they would have been stopped by the police at some point in the film if it wasn't for both magic and technology. Then in the kind of epilogue to the film, we see the Manticore's tavern reopening, and while being more traditional to what it once was, still contains lots of modern features. Officer Bronco still uses a radio to communicate with the other officers because obviously that would be a stupid thing to get rid of, but he does run rather than drive. And I guess most notably of all, in basically the final scene of the film where Barley now has Guinevere II, an obvious example of technology, but instead of taking the obvious route and driving the car, they use magic to make it fly. And in doing so shows they're not fully reverting back to their magical past, but instead combining magic with technology. And I think the reason this film really succeeds in conveying this message and telling this story is because it could have so easily come off as a subliminal message about how the past was better and that we should get rid of technology. But instead the message is very parental in that parents want to pass stuff down to their kids, but should also realize that their life and culture is very different. The past shouldn't overtake the present, it should add to it to build a better future, because if you're spending your whole life trying to live in the past, you're only going backwards. Whereas the whole point of this film is to go onward. Wow, that was the best ending to a video I've ever done in my life. Why are the walls closing in on me right now? Guys, what's going on? Why am I moving? What's going on right now? Oh my god, I'm in a Squarespace. I'm not even sorry about that one, I can't lie, that was hilarious. But seriously, let's talk about Squarespace. Because if you're an artist, content creator, entrepreneur, or just have another job or hobby that might need a website, not only is Squarespace a powerful and beautiful online platform from which to create a website, but, well, there are plenty of reasons why Squarespace is great, but what I think really sets them aside are their community features. Like being able to look into your analytics, see who's visiting the site and what's causing the most traffic to help learn for the future, having a comment section so you can interact with your audience, and if you purchase a domain with Squarespace, it comes with free Whois Privacy, which is basically an internet record that lists information about domains, and that's important. So if you're interested and want to support the channel, make sure to go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and once you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace.com/SeamusGorman for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And that's all I've got for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. I want to give a special thank you to my good friend Scott Nicewander, who helped write this video quite a bit. And he has a channel called NerdSync, so if you've never heard of it, which I'd be surprised at this point, make sure to go check it out. I'm kind of jealous of you because you can go watch all of his videos and you've got so much good content in store for you. You can also go subscribe to my channel by clicking here and watch another video. Oh, it's on top of me. So